Hey guys, I bought a new camera setup. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a video that a friend requested of me that I make because he is struggling with figuring out what to do with his time. He knows how to be disciplined or whatnot, and he has the desire to be disciplined, but in the day, in life, there are things that we need to do and things that we think we should do but really don't need to be done. I want to start this video off with a very interesting thing. Um, I tried recording this video while playing Minecraft. Just roll the clips. Today we're going to be talking about productivity, list making, doing the things that are important, all the good stuff. I'm in Minecraft. And productivity is all about choosing what you want to do with your time. Let's say, someone forces you to take a class. It's before you go to bed, like the night before, you identify the thing that if you do the next day, it's an absolute win. But like 9 times out of 10, you'll find that when you do this task, you're not only happy with yourself, but you got it done, which is amazing. So I mean, that's the whole point of like spending that time, right? Getting that thing done. So okay, not gonna lie, so I'm like playing bedwars and doing this at the same time, right? I thought, oh, someone's here. Oh, he's bad, but he also snuck on me. That's like really annoying. Okay, so commentating and playing is going to be a very interesting experience. Me talking actual like important stuff while like trying to play Minecraft is this is going to be an interesting experience. Okay, these guys are like really bad at the game, and I only lost because my zoom got stuck. Is it like a freaking toggle zoom? That's annoying. The hardest thing that there is to do in the day, do it first, and the rest of the day will just fall in place. Or even if you don't use the rest of the day effectively, you've got that most important thing done, which is pretty vital. Oh shoot. I got him off. Okay. This is way too brain resource intensive for me to talk and like say things at the same time. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be insane. Either this video is gonna be like really long. Yeah, the video is probably gonna be extremely long. So as you can see, that went really terribly. And so this is the first lesson. Whenever you do anything, don't multitask. Brains are not wired for that. And if you can multitask, it's because of the fact that you've been able to do these two activities simultaneously for a very long time, aka you grew that skill. I know people who like maybe studying one subject at one time, watching Netflix at the same time. You're dumb, and you will stay dumb. Whenever you are working for 20 minutes and you pick up your phone, you've interrupted that focus. And when you put down your phone, it's not like you can just flip that switch back into focus mode. You have to restart that momentum back into that focus. And so any small distractions, like your mom calling you or someone texting you and you respond, that interrupts your focus. I guess with that stuff, it's a matter of communication, asking your parents, hey, I'm studying from this hour to this hour, don't disturb me. And if you communicate with that with them, hopefully they respect that. And you have to respect yourself too. When you're working, throw the dang phone away in a different room and just allot that time is sacred. When you wake up, eat the frog. And this comes from an idea from Brian Tracy, who wrote this book. And the idea was that when you wake up, what is the most annoying thing, yet the most productive thing you can do to make that day feel like an achievement? And so when you wake up, let's say you have a exam in 2 days, or you have an assignment due at 11:59, that might be your frog to study for that test, to submit that thing. And for other people, who are not in school, like for example, if you're recording a YouTube video, that frog may be to record that YouTube video. and to edit it, upload it, all of that good stuff. If you were able to eat that frog, especially, and I recommend to do in the early hours of the morning when your mind is fresh and you haven't eaten breakfast yet and you're fasted, your mind is sharp, that's the best time to eat that frog. And the rest of the day is just like easy sailing from there. And it's, in terms of productivity, one of the best things you can do. But I understand that in life, it's not always just one thing that's the most important. Especially in high school, college, you have 5, sometimes my sister had 9 exams in these next 2 weeks because of December, the couple days before winter break. And that's so many things to juggle. And there's not just one frog, there's like 5, and they're all equally important. So what do? Well, I know a lot of people who make lists. And lists are great. They help me keep track of this, this, and this. I need to get this, this, and this done. But the unfortunate reality of lists is that they don't end. But time does. And so it's this weird kind of choice of figuring out what's going to stay on my list, what's actually important. And the fact of the matter is that you can't do everything on your list, all right? You just have, there's things where you just have to decide that I'm going to do only these things and I'm going to do only these things well. And to figure that out, there's this thing called an Eisenhower matrix. And so the Eisenhower matrix has 2 axes. One is on the one is for urgency and the other importance. And so this leaves 4 quadrants between these 2 axes. And on the bottom, you have not urgent and not important. And these are the things you just don't do because you don't need to. And at the same time, you have urgent and important, like, for example, studying for a test the next day. Because it's urgent and important, you just do it now and you allot that time today and you do it well. But there's also things that are important but not urgent. For example, let's say you're going to go to Spain in like 3 or 4 years. And so you need to learn Spanish. And it's important because let's say you're studying abroad there, you're going to need to interact with the locals, but yet you have 3 years. And so it's not urgent. What do you do in this situation? You have to allot time. Just like you want to see results in, 3 years for going to the gym, it's important, your health's important, your health's good for your work output and so on and so forth. The fact that it's not urgent means that there's more likely a chance that you're just not going to do it. But the good thing is that you can create artificial deadlines for yourself. And this is an idea from Cal Newport Deep Work, where it's kind of like artificially simulating your brain so that you will have the arousal state in like the kind of panic mode to do that thing. You just pretty much set this by, you can tell someone, hey, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, or hey, bro, you want to learn Spanish with me? We're both going to Catalonia next spring. Let's both keep each other accountable for the language and like that. And so you just do it. You have to make time for these sort of things. The final quadrant is not important yet urgent. And a great example of this is emails, administrative stuff. You have to communicate with people, but they're kind of not important. But it's really, really urgent. You do it right now. You can really just block 15 to 30 minutes of your day for these things. But don't do it in the morning because that's where your important stuff goes. This is like at the end of the day, maybe as you're eating lunch, finish all these urgent but not important things in one swift go so that the rest of your day is, allotted for more important things. And so when you actually think about the importance and urgency of everything that you write down on your list, you can actually have some sort of a framework to categorize how you're going to spend your day, what things you're actually going to do in that day. And I think the most important quadrant is the things that you don't do, because the more things you cut off, just the more peace you will be at with your day, and the more focus and attention you can allot to the other things. So there's an idea from Ali Abdaal called the 3 adventures, and his 3 adventures have to do with his work, his physical exercise, and his relationships. And he frames these as adventures because if you frame it as work, your brain kind of like, oh, I don't want to do these things. But adventures, they're fun. They're called to something greater, and it just it's just the framing, the branding of an adventure is just so much more interesting to make for yourself. Because why wouldn't you want to make important things interesting for yourself? And so something like work would be, well, my main adventure for work is to record a YouTube video, to study for the test. Your main quest for exercise could be, hey, I need to hit the gym for 30 minutes, or I need to run to the lake. And your quest for relationships could be like, hey, I should call my grandma today. And if you follow this framework every day and you accomplish these 3 quests every day, that could be an amazing improvement to just life. For relationships, if you think of someone, you just text them and let them know, hey, I'm thinking of you. Remember when we did XYZ together? That was really fun. And that's a great way to reconnect and to foster relationships. And I know it's not really that work-related, work-focused, but it is an important aspect of life, at least I think, that we should think about. And so I encourage you to implement those 3 quests. One lesson I learned in the past year is to not take on too many things. So in the spring, I took around 22 hours of college credit. And if you're not aware, if you're in high school or something like that, taking AP chemistry would be the equivalent of 3 hours of, homework, tests, studying, schoolwork, and so on. So in the spring, earlier this year, I literally took 22 hours of work. And I know a friend who's also a pre-med, and he was able to handle it just fine. He got A's in everything. He did his lab, his research, his clubs. He hung out with friends. He was up till, 2, 3. He would commute from home. And on top of all that, he kept up with Madden football, which was like, but I am not like that. And now as I go on through life, I get to know myself more better and the edges of my limitations. Of course, I hope to grow the edges of what I can do. But as of now, I still need to think about being realistic with myself. And so I urge you guys to not take on too much. Because when you do, the output of everything else you do suffers inherently. I know of a lot of high schooler friends who do a lot of unnecessary extracurriculars, and it gets to the point where they don't do any of them well. If you were to choose one club and to take that one club as far as it can humanely go, you would have something to show you could be really, really proud of, and that in your heart that you spent 300, 400 hours behind a project that only you could do. And when you spread up those 300, 400 hours behind 5 different clubs, where's the greatness? Where's the glory? It got split up all over the place. And you end up being, quite frankly, mediocre in everything. I'll tell you something that happened last spring. I took this class called Emergency Medical Technician, and gosh, this is embarrassing. I took this class, and it's essentially where you learn CPR, you learn basic first aid, and then you learn advanced first aid, and you volunteer 12-hour shifts at hospitals. You learn the craft of basic life support. And anyway, I went through the whole semester in this class. I love the course. Medicine is so fascinating. And before the final exam, I got an email that I would be unable to take the final exam because I did not reach the benchmark in terms of grade. So essentially, I failed the class, and that was tough. It was really, really tough, and there was no other choice for me to say than that it was my fault. And this was a very, very hard lesson for me to learn, that to give myself time to do those things that I care about, and to have flexibility in my time to make sure I'm not stressed every single hour of the day, because I want my output to be great, and I personally don't have the capacity to be stressed every single hour and release and put forth great quality output into my studies, into my extracurriculars, and anything I do. I advise you also to greatly consider to leave yourself some room, some ease into your life so that you can have breathing space and the other dimensions of your life will flourish because of it. Another thing to consider when choosing your priorities is to manage your emotions. So after you figured out what you need to do with your day, when you're actually doing it, having negative emotions or anxiety or bad feelings about yourself can really diminish the excitement and quality of what you're actually doing. And I actually made a video on it. You can click on the link somewhere up here. If you reframe everything to think away from, oh, I have to do this, think, I get to do this. I get to learn physics. I get to take this physics exam. I get to write a 3,000 word paper on electrophysiology. And you feel that excitement, and I know physics, some things are just inherently not exciting, but I urge you to just try reframing that mind into gratitude. There was a study that having 5 minutes of gratitude meditation is the equivalent of making 10 times the income. 10 times. And this is a like a general metric of happiness. Just being grateful is so powerful, genuinely grateful. And I know it's hard to at first, but keep practicing it. You just get better. I know I talked about arousal earlier, but I'm going to revisit this topic. And there's something called this Goldilocks arousal, and you've heard of a bell curve. Here's a picture right here, and you can see on this picture that if you're too stressed, the output's bad. But if it's too easy, you don't really care about it. If you meet this sweet spot in the middle, where the arousal is perfect, you get the best output, the highest creativity, and it just feels better overall. And so the way you can artificially create this high point arousal is time limits and deadlines. Essentially restrict the time, make the task as hard as it needs to be. Don't make the time limit too easy. 6 hours for an essay, you're going to be sitting there until 11:59. 15 minutes for an essay, you're just going to give up. And I know those are really big extremes, but just to illustrate for you the point, make reasonable deadlines, enjoy that task, be grateful that you get to write an essay, and productivity, that happiness, that ability to finish that task will just fall in place a lot easier. One tip that Ali Abdaal gives is to make an ideal week where you pull up a Google Calendar and you plan out how you want to spend that week. In my experience, this doesn't work for me because my weeks are quite unpredictable, to be honest. Yes, I do have a solid schedule where I have this class and those don't change. But the way I decide to spend my time within a week changes a lot. And this may not be a good thing, but this is the reality of what happens. Some Thursday nights I go to my friend's place and we practice music together, but other Thursdays I end up going to the gym. Some days I wake up at 5 and I'm able to go to the gym, before I have to leave at 7:30. But other days I sleep in until 8. So what I would say is that instead of making an ideal week, you just learn to say no to things. I can't go to the gym today, Samuel. You have too much work. You're gonna have to skip the gym. Sorry, bro. I can't practice music with you today. I have this really big frog I need to eat. Maybe next time. And if you guys are unable to say no to yourself or others, you guys might need to consider the fact that you could be a people pleaser, or you don't have your priorities straight, to be frankly honest. If you define the thing that you need to get done with the rest of the time you have in the day, you need to literally prioritize getting that thing done. And that, like I said earlier, just means saying no. And you need to use this power often. But there is one person who you should never say no to, and it's God. Now hold on, I know. But listen, it's important to put God first in everything you do. Every morning I try to spend that first hour with the Lord, reading the Bible, meditating on His Word. And Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and find his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And that pretty much just means that put God first. God wants to bless you. And his definition of blessing in this case would be to give you that career you're looking for, to give you that person you want to find, to provide for you, open the door, whatever opportunity you're looking for. He wants to provide you with that. And when you put God first in your life, when you're saying to him that, God, above the career, above the money, above everything else, I love you first. I mean, why wouldn't he want to give you everything? And it's not that you're loving God for the things. It's God just smiling on you when you love him so endearingly. It's kind of in the same way how we tithe. We put our first, whenever we get paid, we put our first money to God first. That same way we prioritize our time with God first. And the way you spend the rest of your time just falls into place. I mean, when you love God the way you eventually will, why wouldn't you want to spend that first time with God? I'm going to leave you with a final thought, and this is something Alex Hormozi said. Imagine you're at your deathbed, and you're in a coma, and your eyes are closed, but your ears are open, and all the loved ones who you've ever known are standing around your bed, and they're talking about you. And you listen to what they're saying. Are they saying things that you want them to say about you? Are they saying good things? Are they talking about how loving you were, how providing you were, how fill in the blank, whatever you want to be seen as? And think about that day, every day. And imagine, am I doing the things right now to achieve that outcome? And just have that as your North Star. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Here's the video I was talking about earlier. It's about cramming for exams. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I will make sure to smash that like button, and bye. Oh, by the way, check out the new setup. Bro, this light is so cool, bro. Initially, I used this, but this was like too bright and stuff. And this one is like so much hotter.